Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome everybody to our 9 o'clock budget meeting. We're having another meeting at 10 o'clock. That's our regular Commissioners Court meeting. This is our budget meeting in response to the efforts to pass a balanced budget. We had a public hearing last week that was posted in accordance with the law, and there's a requirement to have this to adopt the budget or try to adopt the budget within 7 days. So here we are. Let the record reflect we have a quorum. All the commissioners are here. County made some arrangements with an organization to rent the building on a project for Mr. Dillon, and they're in the other half, hence we're over here in this half. I'm glad to see everybody here. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Ask that you please stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, one with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Commissioner, would you please say a word of prayer?
Lord, we thank you for another day. We thank you for many blessings. We thank you for the good weather that we've been getting and the rain. God, it's well needed. Lord, we ask that you touch each and every one that's in attendance today as we hold this meeting, God, and we ask that we do whatever we do be pleasing to you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Item number 4, consideration, discussion, possible vote to adopt fiscal year 2022-2023 budget. Now, like I say, we've had the go over some information. We had the public hearing. It was last August 31st. And it was posted in the newspaper in accordance with the law. We had a good turnout there. It was a very productive meeting, I think. But last year, our tax rate was 5,997. Because the appraisal district is ever vigilant in maintaining appraisal values, the value of property in Sanitation County went up right around $300 million. That's what they tell me. As a result of that, the legislature has passed various truth in taxation rules. Counties have a 3.5% cap. When the value goes up, and it looks good for me because I get to say I'm lowering the tax rate. And every year, except this is 17th budget, but one, we've actually lowered the rate. I'm not telling you that your taxes are going down, because that I wouldn't lie to you, nothing. But anyway, 5,997. This year, our proposed rate is 957 per hundred. Now, there is also in the truth and taxation calculations done by our tax collector, Ms. Davis, there's what is known as a no new revenue tax rate. That's 0.5065. Now that's the rate that if we pass that rate, we dropped all the way down, and I said 5779. We're dropping 5 points down to 529. If we pass the rate of 0.5065, that is the amount of money that would generate the same amount of tax money that we had last year. And anyway, there's no way we could operate on it. Well, I guess there is a way, but I don't know how we could do it in view of the fact that fuel has doubled over the last year or so, and everything else has just went up through the roof. Material costs and so on and so forth. Then the legislature has identified another rate. They used to call it the rollback rate. That's the rate where if you go over that rate, it triggers an automatic rollback. There could be a rollback election put in, and people would have a right to vote to roll the rate back. Well, now they call that the voter approval rate. Now that's 0.52957. That's the same as the proposed rate. We're going to stop right there. We're not trying to get into no rollback situation. The no new revenue tax rate is for 2022 is the rate that will raise the same amount of property tax. And I've already said that, but I'm going to read this whole notice to you. The voter approval rate is the highest tax rate that Sanitation County may adopt without holding an election to seek voter approval for that rate. The proposed tax rate is greater than the no new revenue tax rate. That means Sanitation County is proposing to increase property taxes for the 2022 tax year. Now, your taxes, if your value did not go up, your county portion of your taxes would actually go down if your value stayed the same. But everything I got, values went up. Anybody here have a value that didn't go up this year? I didn't think so. But theoretically speaking, if they hadn't raised your rate, your property taxes county-wise would actually go down. Public hearing for the proposed rate was held on August 31st at 9. Like I say, we had on that half of the building, had a good turnout, so forth, so on. The proposed tax rate is not greater than the voter approval rate. As a result, Sanitation County is not required to hold an election at which voters may accept or reject the proposed tax rate. However, you may express your support or opposition to the proposed tax rate by contacting members of the Sanitation County Commissioners Court at their offices or by attending the public hearing. And like I say, we had a vigorous discussion, a lot of input and so forth, and it was well attended. All right, the notice also included in bold statement of how your taxes are calculated. Your taxes owed under any of the rates mentioned above can be calculated as follows. Property tax amount, tax rate, times the taxable value, divided by 100. That's how it is. Whatever value they assign to it, multiply it by this rate, divided by 100, and that's your tax. Of course, your tax bill has got school, ESD, county, road, bridge, and I think that's everything here, at least in code frames. There's some areas, like out around the west end of the county, there's a couple of, well, I mean, you got different schools in every county, but there's probably 5 or 6 different schools. There's I think a college, Lone Star has a little bit of a tax rate on some of the land out in the west end of the county. But some of that area is in that, but that's not county-wide. And when we had an earlier meeting where we voted to kind of put a cap on, this is as high a rate as we're going to go to. And I think for the proposal, myself, Commissioner Morris, Commissioner Jacinto, Commissioner McNally, Commissioner Brandon, there was no opposition to the motion to not go over the approval rate. Several of those, that's where we got. Proposed budget on August the 10th. And that's, like I said, that's kind of a starting point, and then we've had numerous we had budget hearing on June 16th, July 29th, August 5th, August 24th, August 31st. And so during the last budget meeting, we identified, we didn't vote on anything, but a workshop, and it was a public hearing. And we did identify some things that the court felt like they wanted to see in the final budget, which we're going to do today. Now, I believe the day we had the public hearing, one of our taxes is not the only way we get money in the county to fund our project. There's a whole list of revenue items. The biggest one, obviously, is ad valorem taxes. And by the way, had we have if the legislature didn't impose that 3.5% cap, we've had all year long in this budget here, there's been a section of the community that's very strongly for helping do more for law enforcement. So forth. And this past year, we gave a raise to a portion of the law enforcement. And gave the jailers all a $3 an hour raise, I believe. Because there was rumblings that Texas Jail Commission, that's the entity that oversees all the jails in the state, concerned about the staffing levels we had and so forth and so on, and the sheriff expressed profusely, along with citizens, that there was he's having trouble keeping employees. So we finally saw the light, and the biggest thing we could do to help, he felt, was to give a little raise, make it a more attractive job opportunity for people. They say good burgers for less money and not have to get spit on and cussed at and beat up and whatever else happens to you when you guard inmates. But anyway, we gave it $3 raise, trying to do what we can do. But back to what I was saying, if just for 1 year we didn't have I'm just saying if we didn't have that cap and we didn't go down on revenue, we left it to what it was last year, that would have generated $1.8 million in new revenue. Now, we could you can file the car, you can do whatever you want, but that's not how it works. I'm just giving you something to chew on. So. Anyway, this budget that I filed did not have any raises in it, because at the time of its preparation, I don't think we couldn't afford any raises. The very day we filed, we had the public hearing, the sheriff has been diligently working with other counties to try to, let me back up. A lot of y'all have heard this. I don't know, it could be one new face Brother Stokes, I don't think's been at all. How are you, Brother Stokes?
Doing wonderful.
You
Thank
still
you
up
for
there
asking.
off of Counts Road?
Yes, sir, I do.
Not on Counts Road, it's, I know where you are, Ryan's Ferry Road. You go from Counts Road, then end up on 980 if you know where you're going.
Yes, sir. Thank you for asking.
Yes, sir. Anyway, one of the other ways that we have, that we get revenue, back in, whenever we built the jail, probably 05, 06, jail commission called us down to, well, probably 03 is when that was started. We had a 20-man jail, and they got coming by and checking and noticed that we had 54 people in the jail. And that was before I got there. I come in right behind that. And anyway, I think the first week we ended up having to go to the jail commission and talk to them about what we're going to do about this situation. So we finally come up with a plan and hired an architect, and we were going to add on and make it a 54-man jail, and that's what we did. We passed a certificate of obligation, and we increased the capacity. And we had no more got it built, and it was all, they filled it right on up, 54, that's not a whole lot for a whole county. So a couple of years rocked along, and then there we are, overcrowded again. And then we decided, well, we're going to do something a little better this time. We developed a plan to build a jail that would produce income later on once we got the darn thing paid off. And it was the state's recommendation that we build a much bigger jail, because they were tired of looking at us every time they turned around. We were overcrowded. Me and the sheriff and some of the commissioners, we had to go up there and grovel and explain what our plan was and tell them how poor we were. Anyway, we passed another certificate of obligation, built a 144-man bed, that's that 9 facility that you see over there. And the idea was, pay that note with those extra beds that we did, we rented out. And the various sheriffs have rented the beds out, and so on and so forth, offset the cost of building the jail. And it's worked pretty good, because that income is kind of what's paid for the thing all this time. Well, last year, we finally paid the thing off, so now we have whatever we got now we got a little extra money, we can try to upgrade the sheriff's fleet, or whatever the needs are in the county. It's other income that we have to provide the services that we do without raising the tax rate. Man, this is hard enough to do without listening to, I'm trying to stay focused. So, we have come to rely on jail income. And I believe I'm getting there, but that's not where I'm at today. Inmate housing, 0244. So, 19 and 20, we budgeted $315,000 for estimated revenue for the jail. For whatever reason, I don't know, about COVID time, that cut down severely the amount of inmates that we could have or wanted to have. Y'all remember COVID? It was, when it first came on, it wreaked havoc on a lot of facets of society. All we collected that year was $84,925. The next year, after this line, that may be a budget amended line, but it says estimated revenue $167,822. I think we were just about to pull out of COVID, because in 2020, 2021, the sheriff had all cylinders running just fine, had inmates from half dozen different counties, collected $465,000 worth of revenue, way over what we had anticipated, which is always a good thing. So the next year, we estimated, well, he went up to 465, let's bump it up to 250 estimated revenue. That's very conservative considering we collected 465 the year before. Well, this past year, we only collected $2,700 in revenue. So at the time of filing my proposed budget, that's all the income I had to rely on, so we put a zero right there. If you don't have any contracts in place, I'm not going to bet that you're going to have them. Well, the day we had the hearing, the sheriff had been working on it. He said he had something cooking. Well, he did have something cooking. He brought in a contract with Liberty County, and I think it's $65 a head. Now, for 30 inmates. Now, do the math. That's 30 times 65 times 365. That's $711,750. Go ahead, Ray. Do the math. I'm telling you, that's the number. So now we can, and I believe every word he said. He's got the contract. They're over there now. I hope they stay every single day. So now I'm comfortable, and I believe the court is as well. Instead of taking that zero out and at least estimating, I'm not going to say that they're going to be full every single minute for the whole year, 711,000, but I'm going to say, well, at least bet on half of that. What do you think, Mr. Stokes?
I think that'd be cool.
You're law enforcement. You got a long history. We believe in being conservative. If you're conservative and then that can exceed your expectations, it's a win-win situation. So what I'm getting at, we're proposing to put, or at least that's what I understand the consensus is to put about $350,000 is estimated revenue there. Now, when I said we gave a raise for the jail employees, that was absolutely true, because it was an emergency situation, and that's what we did. There's other people now, though, who have the ability, I believe. I'm just trying to tell you where I think we're headed this morning. Now that we have that other revenue, also, last meeting, we went through the revenues and adjusted various revenues where we might be low on our incomes. And we cut some down and we're over, but the sheriff's deputies and the rest of the employees, who the gallon of gas is double for them, and like it has for all of y'all. Anyway, I believe we're going to propose some type of raise. We always do when we get to this stage. Whatever we got left, we try to give the employees a little raise. I've looked at the salary surveys for most all the counties around here, and we're not at the top of the list by any means. Not that we're supposed to be. But anyway, I'm not sure exactly what the court has tonight. I'm trying to lay the groundwork because we're fixing to get into what the proposals are. I'm trying to list kind of the things that are not in this that I filed here that's going to transpire this morning. I noticed, or the auditor noticed, and we noticed, the district court estimates of revenue was way under or what they've been bringing in, but there was a problem with, they're behind a little bit on their monthly reporting, so there's been money collected that's not shown, and so we're going to adjust that revenue down the line. On the animal shelter, we're trying to, there's an animal shelter it's been building for the last year or so out on 2025, right next to the DPS facility there. And the last few meetings, Mr. Lonnie has brought us updates on where we're at on that. We were told we got the money in the budget. Move forward with it. We got the building up and slab up, and we need to proceed with it. But have a pretty good sewer system, I think, to process all of those deposits. So anyway, as a result of, we've kind of ear tagged the money that was in the budget for that. In other words, ended this year, that will result in a decrease in next year's budget. I'm getting off track, that's all. Light me up over here. That is, I'm reading your notes here, but that's proposing that's a decrease of $53,000. Another thing I put in here, tragically, we lost our environmental officer, Mr. Neil Adams, this year. We'll have it replaced him. Yeah, and I had kind of talked to the various constables. I don't see him here, Constable Ashley from Shepherd he was looking for some more help, and I was trying to find him something. Anyway, he talked about considering it, but anyway, he changed his mind, so I had proposed to put the environmental officer position over underneath the sheriff's umbrella, so to speak, move it to that part, but it's kind of a standalone thing. That was proposed, but I think during the last meeting, commissioners are in the discussion, they reminded me that the National Flood Insurance Program and FEMA are passing regulations every time they meet to regarding flood maps and so on and so forth. And if you build in a flood zone, you got to be so much over 2 or 3 feet over base flood elevation. And just telling them to do that is not good enough. They passed all these rules, but they want us, the counties all over the state, to enforce that. And that means eventually we're going to hire somebody to do that. And not knowing exactly how much time that'll take. Long story short, Mr. Brendan and the Commissioner's Court had a very good idea that perhaps this environmental person can also do some of this inspecting of the houses in the floodplain. And it's not going in there and looking to see whether you got the crown molded or granite or whatever. It's basically to make sure that the elevation is right. You're complying with the statutes regarding how high you're supposed to be. If the county, they can't just make you do it, but if you don't provide that service and they come in here and audit it and see that we have allowed people to build underneath, then they could suspend, they could quit providing flood insurance folks in the county. Now, I'm going to a pretty good deal, but for whatever reason, there are people that build in flood zones, and they want us to look out for them, and you don't want to end up with people. I guess in certain areas near the lake and things, there's some areas, I think Governor's Farm has a section that you choose to build down there, you've got to build up high because you're in flood zone. So anyway, that's another unfunded mandate that the county has. And I think that's a great idea to take that person and let them do 2 jobs as long as they can do it. If you get to a point where it's too much work, then you'll have to get into help. Now in criminal court, I got bailiffs. I got a whole bucket full of them. This ain't criminal court. Anyway, right. I think there's also a request, I think for the first time in many, many moons last year, I think we gave sanitation fees a slight increase. Went from 100 to 125, is that right? When you look at that, that's about $10 a month to have a place to dump the trash, which is a bargain if you ask me. Sanitation does not collect enough money off of those fees, pay for itself, so it's got its own fund, but every year it goes from $250, money has to come out of the general fund to help. Yeah, I guess if we raise the stickers up to $300, we wouldn't have to fund it like that, but we'd also have trash all over. Everybody just throw it on the side of the road, or a lot of people do, you know. We saw some spike in that when we went up $25, people throwing their trash. Well, we can't have that. Y'all want to drive up and down the road and look at trash. So, anyway, I think you will want to increase sanitation. You want to make tell me what you want. You want some sort of another little bit of an increase in sanitation?
No, that 21,000 that I'm referring to is his ARPA money he has left.
Yeah.
And he thought he was going to spend it in September, but the equipment's not going to reach October, so I need to put it in.
She just handed me this yesterday evening.
That's for a new contractor for March. His is not, 25 years old.
In order to keep up with the ARPA funds, I need to put that back in the budget for next year instead of him having it in this year.
And I confess, I went and watched the Astros last night. I didn't study this while I was watching the news. They lost in the ninth inning. I should have maybe.
But that's what that is. That's for a new contractor for precinct 4. That's how the money was already, you already budgeted for that. Already.
Yeah, we took $250 out of the ARPA money to buy a new sanitation truck. You stretched it and still didn't use it though.
No, and there's some things coming maybe we're gonna talk about today. I need another contractor and another couple boxes. That'll lock that out.
Okay. In anticipation, once I received the sheriff, did you just slip in or you been here all morning? I'm trying to give you some kudos.
Let's say I'm here, Joe.
Yes, sir. All right, fair enough. I think, I'm trying to keep my ear to the ground. I think there's a desire amongst the court now that I think we have the ability to, we've done something for the detention facility workers. Now to try to do a little something for the rest of the county employees. We don't get opportunities to do that very often. Here we are now. I had, in anticipation of that, I had identified some, well, like I say, there was $227,969 in contingency, 235 in coronavirus money. Now, coronavirus money was a reimbursement that the new regime gave during the coronavirus, and we turned in like 1.2 million. We received about 900. There's about 400. Yeah, it's still out in the black hole in the computer somewhere. We turned in the documentation, but it ended up in I don't know. They're supposed to get back. I ain't gonna put you on the spot, John. You didn't come here prepared to do that. Anyway, we're thankful for what we did get, and that's reimbursement money that the county paid out for all the hours that was spent. Law enforcement hours were deemed automatic. They were, you didn't have to you can prove that they worked the time, they were considered corona related, and that's how, yeah. So, that money is back, we've kind of identified it over here, we're tracking it as we get rid of it, but it's reimbursement money. I mean, you don't have to go spend it on anything in particular, and, about running out here, you guys, anybody want to take over and talk about the elephant in the room, what y'all are thinking about on the raise?
Well, I think if we did the dispatchers at 3%, I mean, they were at 3%.
$3.
$3 on the,
Yes, sir.
we gotta do everybody $3. I think, because I think I've talked to the tax assessor, the treasurer about this, that not put us in a bind if we don't.
Well, historically speaking, when counties giving raises, it's usually like $1,000. That all we muster, and we always treat everybody the same.
With the money we got this year, it's like $62.40 and $3. That's what I come up with. I don't know about the rest of that.
But we were talking in our discussion, we're talking about it's not far below salary rate, to say they're getting money obligated, but it's more of a merit rate.
Yeah, it's a merit.
Stuff in the park, yeah, it's
Yeah, because I'd rather do it as merit based than everybody's line or where each department has to do that to evaluate their employees.
And that includes the park.
Sorry?
That includes the park.
Yeah.
No,
Not part-time.
That didn't include.
I mean, we could,
We just did something for the family.
Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah, they need to go too. They need to go too.
Last year we did.
How much? Younger? Bad?
One more.
Because that was a merit raise also. So everybody.
We set it up and make all the.
Based on the desire to do that, but I have identified the ability to do about 4,000, and y'all talking about 6, I think it's there. If you go into that environment, you can do that, get all the law enforcement, get whatever. That's, I'll never see that again.
Y'all's opinion?
I think we owe it to the rest of the world.
There you go.
Yeah, I do agree with that. That was kind of, what our thought patterns about it.
But along with that, we've got some semi-full-time, part-time that we don't need to leave out in some form or fashion. Because I know I've got 2 part-time people that work my dump and are doing a good job. I think Mr. Timmel has also, and you do also, so, you know,
$1? What do y'all think, $1? Oh, man, I don't know, I'm just asking.
You're only talking $29.
I'd be glad to go do the 3 and $1.50.
What would that cost?
I have no idea, off the top of my head, $1.25 per part-time employee.
$1.50 for the part-time.
How many part-time do you got?
We got 4 crews, so last year, we
Because it also includes the sheriff's department.
opened 2 now.
He don't have any full-time, he saves the county about 15,000 a year by
Well,
that.
I'm counting the part-time that will get away.
Yeah.
I thought it was.
That's when you got part-time. Is it how much too?
You know what I'm talking about now?
See the column corner?
Now, when I proposed 4,000, that's $1.92. I know where the money is to do that. And I think Ms. Caroline had studied and proposed. Only way to fund what y'all are talking about is to use all the corona money and all the contingency money. And that wasn't including part-time, so it's one thing to know how to do it, but having a plan how you're gonna pay for it is another thing. Part-time is all over. You got people, some departments don't pay them but $8 an hour, and some of them pay 20. Generally speaking, it's historically speaking, in 17 years, part-time haven't, they don't, every time we give full-time raise, we don't do that, part-time, but I get it. Gallon milk went up just like for diesel, gas. I come back from that game last night and pulled in and bought fuel for $2.95. It's going down just like Uncle Joe said it was. I don't know if it's gonna be down where, that may be temporary. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Huh?
I said, he go back then.
It ain't went down in Cold Springs, but it's $2.99 on 59 or $2.95, and diesel's $2 higher. Go figure. $5.
It would be about 130 for the person, which is about 37.
$27,000.
That's less than 10 when you pull, when you are, what we pull down there.
That's all you're talking about. That's doable.
So he's going, anyway, so they're not.
They already calculated, so you don't know how many hours each part-time person is gonna work. I mean, that's an estimate.
That's an estimate.
Well, she's doing 29, right?
Yeah, that's what we do.
The max.
I'd have to hear a number. I got numbers that I'm talking about, and I can figure out a way to do it. It's sure, we help them out a lot. Nice all around. You know, there used to be a time when people that worked in the county clerk's office, or most, all of these county jobs, when they got the job, they stayed there forever. But now, your person that's been there the longest has been there, what, 2 or 3 years? 2 years. That's, we ain't talking about a deputy, we understand how that is. They're some of them guys a year and they can go anywhere and make more money. We're trying to do what we can to stop that. And it's not like you're doing something wrong, that's something we can't control. We have an opportunity to do something about it, I don't know.
We're gonna go one by line and vote on each one, or we're gonna
You can't vote it one by one.
have a consensus and then go to the end and change it all?
She produced,
If you're gonna add part-time raise 37,000, we're already in a deficit of 370,000. You're gonna have to use all the coronavirus money, part of the contingency money then to cover the rest, and in addition to cover that 37,000. It's doable, but I'm just telling you what's being used.
there was another item on here that really doesn't affect the budget, that Mr. Dillon had hired a Mr. Prayer, who's got like 25 years worth of experience as a prosecutor. He asked to include 5,000 longevity pay, but that comes from the state. That's a pass.
We get a check from the state and we get it.
Yeah, and I didn't, it was on the list and I didn't say that, but I just looked over it. But we go in, the state pays it and pays it to us and then we pay it to him. You said he's capped out, is that right? At 20?
Yes, sir, he capped out 4 years ago, so he can't receive any more money.
Because our longevity is $5 a month, $60 a year. You don't get it until you've been here 5 years, and then it just goes up from there. So that would be, you'd have to be here 17 years before you got $5,000.
The Special Prosecutors Act.
By the way, I have, but I have a break in my service, so I don't get any longevity, but it is what it is.
Now, this is net zero.
Right. Yeah, we get a warrant from the state and get that money back every year. So, all my prosecutors have enough time to warrant on that.
Apparently, they don't care if you break the service or not, they just stack it up there and it doesn't.
That's correct.
Where you're at, you can go down 3 or 4 different, governmental entities.
Starts out at, after 5 years, you get $20 a month. And that doesn't pay.
Several years ago when we started this, I don't know how many years, Polk County had the same one, and this passed, and the juvenile department, which I'm on the board, they had the same plan, but this year, they like tripled it. We're not proposing any change on that. That was a small thing to try to help keep people there. You know, when you talk about $300 a year, that's not a real big incentive to make some more stuff. That'll buy, what'll that buy, 2 tanks of gas or something? When diesel got up to $5. Well, she's put together this latest version here, the changes that y'all are talking about, raise-wise, we just have to address the raises, I guess. Everything else is in here.
The DPS takes a couple of radars, $2,450 piece. It was not that is. And that's why I think Mark was going to go kind of line by line. I think their budget knocked down about $50,000.
Yeah, he cut a position, that's the only other person I've seen do that in 17 years, had some DPS background, was Harris Red Blanchett. We were in a bind one year and he come to the court and cut his budget about $10,000 or $15,000. That's the only other time I've seen that happen.
Well, I think we got a little bit more money we reach out to. That's the treasurer to speak, she's like, sure.
I would like to discuss with you, but I don't know how many people use that. over, switching up the Christmas events.
Guys, March or $80,000 or something like
One this year. So we would like to use some of it to spruce up Christmas on the square.
Christmas on the street.
The lights, outside lights, they're all decrepit, they've been out, they're Walmart lights, they don't last
We
very long.
spent like, listen, spent 2 or 3.
For every 200 feet, I can't have 2 driveways and 1 traffic lane. In this case, that doesn't affect me.
We ran into that on this piece we're sitting here right now. There was a little history before that included that. Anyway, we're familiar with that regulation.
Yes, sir.
So he said it wouldn't be a problem on the drive.
Yeah, he told me to get back in touch with him on the coverage, that he had some guidelines, he wanted to make sure that I met, and I'm familiar with the guidelines for highway, and I will.
One thing about the covers, they don't they put them in?
Not with highway.
Not anymore. Used to, it's been a long time since I've contracted.
We're responsible for all our county roads and town meetings.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to this, Judge and I had went over this in my office, and, I'd asked him, put the drainage in, and the one piece that's coming off of Oxbow is fine, that's off of the small county road, and, so everything is good as far as I'm concerned.
So I have one question.
Okay.
Our rules say when you divide land, you have to have 50 foot of county or space frontage. There's only 40. And I don't know if you showed it to our engineer or not. That is one of our rules. Now, if we want to circumvent that, I'm okay with that too.
Well, that's why it's called a variance. If we were going by the rules, he'd have to do a whole lot more than that. This is, I mean, whatever that's worth.
I wasn't aware of that, Commissioner.
That gives you any heartburn?
Is there any issue? This driveway, you change it.
It's just a driveway.
It's just a driveway, yes, sir.
No, I'm good with this on that. No, I don't think it goes right through.
It is kind of, that's the one that goes down to, yeah.
But that's just me, I'm good with it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I'll make a motion to give him a variance on the 8th.
I have a motion by Commissioner McAnally, a second by Commissioner Brandon. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Yes,
I'll do another question.
Yes, sir.
Or comment. And it's not for you per se, it's pretty much to the court. And I'm okay with it, but we're gonna let 40 foot be the new requirements, and we either change the rules, or we're gonna have to let everybody else do it.
it's not,
That's my statement.
okay, you too, it's not like we're changing the rules. These are done on a case-by-case basis. Commissioner McNally just said that the county road ain't 30 foot. I mean, what he's doing is wider than the county road there. It's a narrow, it's one of them little narrow neighborhood type roads, I guess you say.
I guess a variance like this is just kind of on a case-by-case basis.
Well, it is, but
Yes, I
I'm trying
understand
to
your
say,
point.
if we want 50 foot,
Yeah,
judge, we need 50 foot, or
40 foot.
or we don't, leave it 40. I'm just making my point, that
Yeah.
the rules say 50 foot.
Well, I think, can you put that in a note, maybe when we get into the rules, or the mixing there, make a note in there to address the board, because this is not the first time that's been done.
No, it's not.
And so, if it's just a driveway with no, I mean, if it's ag driveway, I can see where, but if it's just a car, pickup truck driveway, that's all you need.
Yeah, if it was an
I'm not
ag
trying to
driveway,
railroad
some of the
you.
trailers.
I understand, Commissioner.
But the
It'll
rules
make that
say,
swing on the 30 foot.
any variance has to have 50 foot, it's in there, it's along with the variance. So if we're gonna waive that, I'm okay, I'm just telling you, make no point.
Any other comments? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, it's unanimous, 5-0.
Thank you, Judge. And
We got a form for that? We got a little form here that. Very well, very well. Mr. McCoppin, does that thing have a voice activated deal where somebody else goes talking, it swivels where it ain't pointing at me all the time? Or that camera comes up broke or something, I warned you, is all I'm saying. It's got a rough target here. Let me, Jill Finney here? Number 12, consideration, discussion, possible vote to approve an order authorizing the submission of a community development block grant method of distribution application to the General Land Office for the GLO CDBG MIT mines, and authorize the county judge to act as county executive officer and authorize representative in all matters pertaining to the county's participation in the community development block grant mitigation model program. I thought there was some language in here about the public.
It's an attachment, citizen participation plan. Which
Citizen participation
you said
plan.
the one that we have is fine.
We don't have to pass a new one if we already have one in place.
Correct.
Okay. Number 12. Basically, this just requires a resolution to file the application that we've already hired them to, well, we procured them, I believe is the correct terminology. Went through the procurement process for them.
Yes, there's a resolution that needs to be signed by you.
Can I get a motion to,
So it was 2 months ago, execute, you to act as an executive officer.
the resolution, the citizen participation plan in the packet, we've already got one, so we don't need I don't think we need a new one. Miss Singer had verified that with Jill Philly. That's my understanding. That's absent her 2 bits worth. I didn't think we needed another one. What do you think, Mr. Chairman? I have a motion by Commissioner McAnally, a second by Commissioner Brandon. Any other comments? Pass the resolution. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. It's unanimous, 5-0. You number the resolution since they come down? If you do, you have to assign it a number, Madam Clerk. There's no, as I said, you talked to her this morning, there's no necessity to file a new citizen participation plan. Yeah, I thought so. John, was there a specific item that y'all are here on?
All
let's go back to item number 5. We talked, but I've slept since then. Item number 5, announcement of possible discussion of items of public or community interest for which no action will be taken. This is John Klingman of Tatum. I don't know that the young fellow beside him, or I might know him, but I'm terrible with names.
Good morning, Judge, and good morning, Commissioner. John Klingman, I know a couple of you commissioners. Serve as your TDM District Coordinator out of Bluffton for the 11 County Dade Cog region. TDM is excited to announce to the Commissioners and to the Judge who's aware that we'll be adding a County Liaison Officer here in San Jacinto County. I introduce to you Chris Eastham. Chris will serve here in San Jacinto County as a boots on the ground TDM County Liaison Officer.
What's his last name?
Eastham.
Easton.
Yes, sir. He'll be here every day, Monday through Friday, available on the weekends if needed, to work with you guys through the preparedness, response, recovery, and mitigation process. We will work with the county. This position is designed to supplement your emergency management program, provide technical assistance to the county for recovery, mitigation, response, and preparedness. So I will allow Chris to introduce himself to you. We just wanted to share this with you. This initiative across the state, over the next 2 years, will bring 100 county liaison officers throughout the state and increase the footprint of TDM by those 100 employees. So we're very excited about this opportunity. Sure.
Morning. Morning. Like you said, my name's Chris. I'm 22 years. I'm retired. Spent some time in Iraq. I've got some time, a little bit of experience in fire rescue. I'm a volunteer. My degree is in emergency management. And between my degree and this position, I work for FEMA.
Where's your degree from?
Savannah State in Savannah, Georgia.
Okay.
But I worked a few years with FEMA before coming on with the state.
Chris's experience.
Where do you live?
I'm living up in Waterwood area.
Okay.
Just moved there. I'm getting here like 2 weeks.
Yeah, nice to have you. You're in Waterwood. When the white first goes strike, be sure and let me know. We're tickled to hear you, and I don't want to steal your thunder, but you had me trying to find an office space that the state wanted us to help with, and I think you've done a little looking on your own. Have you?
It was good as long as you guys will agree to that.
Well, I don't know if you shared all that, but I think you've gotten with DPS sergeant out there, your sister organization, and they found you a spot over there that I appreciate you making room for him over there, Sergeant. There's a lot of growth going on out that direction, if I might say. So that's good. I had kind of looked at a spot, but it's anyway. I'm glad you found a good spot where that everything worked out.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
y'all. Nice to meet you.
Item number 11, consideration, discussion, possible vote for approval of declaration of salvage of the following items. Precinct 2, an air compressor, motor, no tank, old mosquito sprayer, 2012 John Deere tractor 5100E, a Lincoln welder model SA 200. Will it bust on? Will it? Will it strike hard? There is a difference.
Hey, on those, on the air compressor and mosquito sprayers, we need to dispose of that. Because they're junk, but the other ones need to go on the main base.
Okay. And then for precinct 3, a Ken Tool safety tire cage, 5-bar heavy duty. Y'all quit working on split rims? You don't need that?
Well, if you really use it, this is actually the second time it's up there, because the guy that bought it the first time only offered $5 for it, and he never came and got it. So, he didn't, now he's done it.
Oh, I worked on split rims on college. My gosh, deadly.
It'll fry all over him. Yeah.
So the mosquito sprayer, you say, and the compressor motor?
Yes. That needs to go on the junk pile.
Are actually salvage. Telling you salvage. Well, that's a lesser degree of getting rid of it, so to speak, so those need to be,
Lincoln welder.
those are under salvage, but the welders are actually surplus.
Yes, they go on to, main base, hitting on the tractor.
Just, they're listed as all being salvage, but you're saying you think you can get something for the welding machines
Oh, yeah.
and the other stuff, and the tractor, you won't sell that as opposed to
Yes.
throwing it in the
Yes.
junk pile.
Yes.
All right, whoever makes the motion, I'll put that together.
I'll make a motion to declare the air compressor and the open mosquito sprayer salvage. And at the same time, I'll make a motion to put on the main base the rest of the items, including precinct 3's, tire gauge.
I'll second.
Mr. Brandon beat you to it. I got a motion by Commissioner Natuno, a second by Commissioner Brandon. Any questions or other comments? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. It's unanimous 5-0.
Do you have a minimum on the tractor?
There is a minimum on the tire page, 200. The auction starts on the 9th and will end on the 23rd.
And just so you know, I put a minimum on here because $5, like, you could have taken across scale and got more $5.
It dropped $5 last time and we got a $200 bill. Oh, I don't know how big it is. Yes, sir. Does that tractor have a loader on it?
So four-wheel drive, John uses the PTO keeps getting out of here. The one with $17,000.
Diesel tractor?
Got 3,100, got cab on it, AC. Nice looking tractor.
You need to change that.
Almost 3,100.
All right, I'm gonna move on to item 13. Consideration, discussion, possible vote to close 3 sections of FM road to traffic within the county consisting of 2 locations along FM 945 and the third location along FM 3278 during the reconstruction and replacement of existing bridges with new bridge structures. The first location, consisting of 1 bridge replacement, is along FM 945, approximately 0.4 miles west of Trail Ride Road. The second location, consisting of replacing 2 bridges, is located along FM 945, about 0.5 miles west of the intersection of FM 945 and 2025. Boy, it's going to be a long way around, Sheriff. Finally, the third location, which lengthens the existing bridge, is along FM 3278 across the Trinity River at the Jacinto County, Polk County line. Mr. Randall will text out. Are you Mr. Randall?
Yes, sir.
I talked to somebody when they talked about it, but they didn't mention the one about the Trinity River Bridge.
That one's come up fairly recently.
Yeah, I guess it did.
So we try to close these whenever we can. It just lets us build them cheaper and faster than if we have to either build a temporary detour bridge or try to do phase construction where we close half the bridge. Put both lanes of traffic on one side with temporary traffic
I know
signals.
down there around Dolan, that they've had one laner down there with an automatic stop light.
Yes.
That thing's been there for 3 or 4 years, I
They
guess.
got it open now.
Do they? I hadn't been through there lately.
We do that sometimes. It's cheaper and faster. Like I said, we can completely close the road. And even though these are state highways, we do want to come to the counties and get your buy-in on it since it does affect emergency services and so forth. So, I'm here to
The twin
answer.
bridges on 945, they could stand a little widening. I come through there with a load of hay the other day, and I skinned the bark on it. I'm just kidding. I thought I was gonna skin all the bark off my trailer. That's an error. I guess that's one of the main concerns. I don't
As
really
part
know.
of the replacements, I believe the proposed bridges will be wider than what's out there.
My question is, how long is each one of these going to be closed down?
I would anticipate probably 4 months, and the two of them that are back to back, probably, I'd say maybe 6 months, to get both of them finished.
When they gonna start that project?
These let in May of 2024, so construction would most likely start in June.
Okay, so when they called, they said things like, we want to come and get your opinion on whether to shut it down or make it a one-way, but it's already lit, all that's been
No,
determined already.
these don't let until 2024.
Okay,
So we're still in the design process, and the decision y'all make will affect what we do in the design, which is why we're trying to get out ahead of it.
yes, sir, okay.
So you're not physically going to start construction, you're using it now?
We're trying to work on the designs right now. We have consultants on board for that, and then these would let in May of 2024.
So if we vote today not to let you close it, y'all have to do about that.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it is a state road, I suppose we have the final say, but if the county feels strongly that these shouldn't be closed, we will do our best not to close them.
So if you talk to the school district, because that, to me, that's a major, if they have to pick up kids on 945, go all the way to Evergreen and then back to Cold Springs, I see a problem there.
They come up Lower Van Road and get
They can detour that lower van from, the Broadway's in that area there, go Cleveland you're finding on the other side at 1725.
So no, he's talking about trail route.
Oh, I'm talking about 945.
He's talking about trail, I'm talking about 945 north.
Yeah, that's about a mile from my house, but that's all right. I can go back the other
I'm
way.
talking about the one where it's 25 west of 945.
Double ridge. Yeah, all them people had to go back to Lower Van Road, is the quickest way around there. Yes, whichever way they did. Lower Van looked like a super highway after the commissioner got through repairing it. It looks good. I haven't said that, but it looks really good. That's best I've ever seen it in my life. Boy, those guys like the sheriff, for instance, he lives on Shaw Road, that's a long way around there to,
This is why we like to ask, is to see what your concerns are about it, see if there's any of those we can address, or if closure is
this
not
ain't
feasible.
this isn't no public comment thing, the sheriff, what's your thoughts on?
2024.
They're gonna close the twin bridges near your house, and then the one on 945 by Vivian Jackson's pasture on that end of 945.
Is there any plans to lift it?
They'll have to do hydraulics as part of the design. It should meet or exceed the existing structure's hydraulic capacity. So I can't guarantee that it'll be any taller, but it's possible.
Okay, because when it floods, a third of the county, I can't even get to.
That's one of the things we'll look at as part of the design.
Yeah.
We do want to make sure that it's hydraulically adequate for the flow it's actually receiving.
Okay, because it floods on 150 up there at Trinity, where, by Jackson Road, Trail Ride, and there between the bridges. And that whole section of the county, I'm out, I can't provide service to it.
That's why I'm really floodplain. Matter of fact, that was located on the bridges, not for the flood damage, that was all.
I don't know if they'll solve all your problems, but it should be that.
If they could just raise one, so we could get to point A, to point B or C, and then it doesn't matter to me which one, it just ain't being cut off from the third one county.
What we've been trying to do is, we get them to put a freeboard, which is basically however high we're expecting the water to get, we go a foot above that, and that's our minimum design elevation.
How often does that happen?
Twice so far, I believe it was, Harvey, and then
It's happening in 94, it's happening in 94, it's happening in 98, call it something, it's 05, 08, it happens in 15, 16, and 17.
that 5 or 6 now.
Now, the one on 150 didn't go, maybe in Harvey, that's the only time I ever saw it going.
The one on 150 did in Harvey.
Yeah.
It had in the other.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, them others, that happens quite often.
I mean, it just so happened during Harvey, we had, a jailer, a DPS trooper installed on that side and one of my patrolmen. And they literally had to live over there for a week or however long that whole deal lasted, 3 or 4 days. And they, bumped in with the fire department there, pumping everything. Anything that they needed or they did, they would walk down.
The 945, 2025 bridges, those feed into Bruce's Bio, which is the Harris County project. We're doing flood study development in that area. Liberty County side kind of goes to flow back on East.
Well, that is something I said that we will look at as part of the design. We're too early in there to know for sure how it's going to turn out hydraulically, but it should be better.
They're primarily, you know they're gonna widen it, you're just not sure whether they're gonna raise it.
Right. It's something that we're just too early in the process to know yet. They haven't started the hydraulic analysis on these.
I'm gonna throw my 2 cents in and then I'll be done.
Okay.
The cheapest way for, I think this whole deal to be done would probably be to do 150. You only have to raise it like 3 or 4 foot, and it's a shorter distance than it is from the twin bridges and or up there off the 940, either in the 945, in my opinion. And I don't do construction, so, but it is,
If you raise the bridge on them twin bridges, unless you raise the road coming up like a half mile on each side, you ain't really done nothing. It'll create one high spot and that's it. It's just gonna go around when it gets out of the banks.
And what comes underneath there, once you raise it up, that solves the problem on 150, but then you just move it down and down the bottom, turn the tap, all the other.
yeah, that's way beyond my realm.
Yeah, so you kind of, and still have to go the same ones they're doing eventually, so.
Well, that's why they do what they do.
Are they gonna shut down 3278?
Now that one I'm not sure that we can get away from. Just the nature of what we're doing.
Out of all these bridges, that one's relatively
So
new.
that one's not being replaced, it's just being lengthened. Basically that west bank is washing out so bad, we're trying to extend it 2 or 3 spans to keep it from washing out the entire bridge.
Going back down to bedrock on the outside.
They're in the process of doing what they call a geomorphic survey right now, where they're doing all the geotech work to figure out how far out we need to go, how far down we need to go, and all that. But that one, I'm not sure that we can get away without closing it, because I don't think we can do phase construction on that just based on the length.
That's gonna hurt.
Oh,
That's gonna hurt.
yeah. Wow, that is a long one.
Even the way he's saying
Sand
that.
there back to Cleveland, we never used to go to Cleveland for that.
That is a right of the trees.
All right.
I don't think that one's gonna make us too popular, but unfortunately it does need to be done.
Yes.
If you have any more questions about these, or if you have any more concerns about whether or not we should pursue a closure or not, that's more or less what we're here to know.
Well, I mean, you know, nobody's in favor of closing.
Need to notify the schools.
So if you don't close on what's an estimated length of time over closing?
I would say probably at 3 or 4 months, because they're gonna have to build a temporary bridge, and then we have the extra cost of that temporary bridge. So if we could do it with a closure in 4 months, I'd anticipate 7 or 8.
Well, yeah, and I would also like to add, you know, if we have to build a temporary bridge, typically we have to get a temporary easement, and we have to pay the property owners. And just to be upfront, y'all, county anticipates the purchase of the right of way.
That's government down there. Oh, yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it, 945, I was thinking that government. National Forest, I see you in about 3 years.
That's a problem.
Getting permits, or, I go through there every other day, so I thought I seen one of them red-headed woodpeckers down there.
When we were doing a Blue North project, it was a little bit wide, did 1 foot wide,
Like I said, these are the kind of things we're trying to get out ahead of, because it will affect our design, potentially our letting dates, if we have to push these out. Right away acquisition or something like that.
Also, we can do is stay out of it.
Yeah. We appreciate y'all coming and at least making the citizens aware of it and so forth.
I just hope y'all go by the schools.
Yes.
That's where y'all need to go.
As part of that, we do notify emergency services and schools and everything.
We don't have the public hearings.
If y'all have any more questions, I can get you my contact information, my business cards.
Now, are y'all over the 59 project too?
Yes.
Hey, visit with y'all.
That's your guy.
Yeah, I need to visit with y'all. Y'all wasn't there when they laid out the plan at the school. But y'all guys are young guys, you guys are older guys. Remember David, we met with him at the school? David, we met with him at the school.
Oh, yeah.
That ain't the same guys now, is it?
No.
See, that's what I'm saying. All them guys are retired now.
Yeah.
Harborough.
Yeah, he's retired.
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all for your time.
Yes, sir, thank you. $14, consideration, discussion, possible vote to approve donation of $5,750 from residents on Beaver Den Road for road improvement.
Well, we voted no.
I don't know.
So Beaver Den, that's in Holiday Shores.
Holiday Shores, that's right.
Right past Stevens.
We on asphalt?
We're asphalt today.
I'll make that motion. Thank the people.
I have a motion by Commissioner Mars, a second by Commissioner Brandon to accept the donation. How long is the road anyway?
Almost 2 minutes.
2
Good deal.
Any other questions? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Unanimous. 2/10, so that's about 2/10,000 feet.
There we go.
So just gonna have a conversation.
Okay, that was item number 15, consideration, discussion, possible vote to allow the Women's League to use the shelter for Style Show April 13, 2023.
Good morning. We're here to represent the Women's League of Jacinto County and current president, Kate Akers, and treasurer, Charlotte. Last year, we used the shelter to host our style show. Due to COVID, we were only able to have one fundraiser a year. Normally we have the home tour, but because COVID, we haven't had it in 3 years. So you graciously let us use the shelter for $100. And if you would like to use it again for April, by hosting it here, we were able to double the capacity and invite surrounding counties attendees. And you've all gotten a sheet of the 13 organizations that benefited from our proceeds. It was $7,700, 13 organizations. And they're both, we try to divide evenly between Shepherd and
Lonnie, have we got anything booked?
Well, that's what I was fixing out the line.
Pretty Lonnie,
We're not double parking again.
yeah. We got anything booked for April 13th, 23rd?
23, I'd have to confirm with our calendar and costs. I don't know off the top of my head.
So was that all we did last year with the $100, or did we make you put up the insurance too?
It was just $100.
No insurance?
Approve it,
Can we approve it? Make sure that
in other words, if he checks the calendar and finds out somebody already has it
We
booked,
could
which
change,
I
we could
find
possibly change the date.
extremely
we
unlikely.
can change the date.
He
We
lets you
don't.
know.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Mars, a second by Commissioner Brendan to approve the use of the facility for $100 on April 13th, 2023. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. It's unanimous, 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Consideration, discussion, possible vote to approve the leasing $200,000 road bond for Peach Creek Farms. The POA has been created and Quiet Springs Trail will remain private, but the road meets county subdivision rules and regulation specs.
The Mark Wood and I know this, what they want to do is put speed bumps in there, so the road is so good, if they're having problems speeding in there, on county road, they couldn't do it, so they got together and decided to keep their road private, so they can do the bumps. And they're completing the road, it's good, it's been good.
That's up to them.
Not having it, they're not going to bring the final plan.
To accept the road.
No, they're going to keep the road, we're just looking at the final plan.
Some of the roads are dedicated to the public.
There's like one road, White Spring Trail, one road, it's dead end road, all of that.
So we're not accepting any roads?
Just that one road, it's always optional.
Yeah. What road does that come off
Comes
of?
up the Kelly.
And they're supposed to fix Kelly too for you, right?
What now?
Did they fix Kelly for you?
They did Kelly.
I have a motion by Commissioner Brendan, second by Commissioner McNally. And Kelly comes off, yeah, that's where I thought, down there past Bill Hill's road.
Yes.
That's range kind of, not so much elevated out here, right? That's what I'm saying.
Oh, you know, Trinity Street ain't good. It's actually part of their property.
Well, I should say, hit Peach Creek in the back, right? That's, all right. Any other questions? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, it's unanimous, 5-0. I'm sorry. Number 17, consideration, discussion, possible vote to approve the procurement of East Tex title to to provide real estate settlement services for San Jacinto County CDBG-DR voluntary buyout program, GLO contract 20-066-020 C-135. Bids collected under 2 CFR 200 small purchase rules. They've turned in on the buyout 4 or 5 contracts, and I've signed the contract with them. We never did, we talked about who was going to do the title work and so forth, and they have contacted various title companies, and I think they've, East TXDOT is the only one located in the county. Anywhere else is probably going to use. You can close anywhere, but you still got to get the title work from them anyway. And they did the first buyout bids. I think that's the way they were leaning. They got prices on the. I'm sorry. They got prices on the. I think all the commissions on title insurance policies are set by the state, so there's no really bid requirement on that. But they tell you what you can charge, but you can bid out on what the closing fees are, the escrow fee, and the proposed fee was $300, and they can turn them around. And I thought he said it was max 4 weeks, but yeah. Anyway, they were happy to hear that. So I have a motion by Commissioner Tuno, second by Commissioner Brandon. Any other comments? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, it's unanimous, 5-0. Say, I think they got 5 ready to go to the title company, and I think they got several more waiting in the wings, so to speak. John, is there something else I missed? You still here? Was there something else we were supposed to talk about? I got that in fine print in there somewhere. I don't know if they picked up on that. Okay, well, I just didn't know. I didn't, you're being very patient. I didn't know. You're waiting to buy me lunch lunchtime, right? No, I'm just. All right. Then we'll move on. Item number 18, consideration, discussion, possible vote, and necessary action regarding American Rescue Recovery Plan Act. I don't think we got anything going on that. Animal control, number 19. Consideration, discussion, and possible vote to approve necessary action for the animal control bill. Yes.
At this point, good morning everybody. At this point, I don't have anything new really to ask y'all for as far as moving forward on animal control. Just to kind of reiterate, September 12th is when we're supposed to get the septic installed. Going with, I guess, Mr. William Baker. He's going to be doing it on the weekend. The concrete block work, I'm currently waiting due to the rain recently. The contractor got delayed on a current project. I'm supposed to get an update on that later today, so we'll be getting concrete block installed.
It's under the shed. I mean, he ought to be able to lay rock block. I know I guess you do the mixing and stuff.
Yeah, the weather's not a problem for him on our project. It has delayed him on completing a previous project that he's currently on.
Because, I mean, the blocks are like well inside the building. Unless it's really blowing sideways, he ought to be able to.
Yes, sir.
Blaze away under there, huh?
Yes, sir. He's just trying to complete what he's currently got on his schedule, and then he'll be moving over to the animal shelter. I should get an update later today on that. As far as the internal build out goes, we got about half the AC installed. We currently had to pull off of that project due to other concerns within the county that my guys are being spread out on. With the increased rain, we had a bunch of mowing that had to be utilized and taken care of.
Are the dogs gonna have their own thermostat, or are you gonna have them centrally located?
Well, you know, the operation of the facility is outside my wheelhouse, Judge. I'm just trying to get it built.
No AC for the dogs, just so you all know. I'm seeing if anybody's listening to us.
But we do have the inside mostly insulated, and most of the AC has been installed internally as far as the ductwork. We're just waiting on installing the actual condenser and wiring up the electrical for it.
Yes.
So that's not a big deal. We'll get it knocked out.
It'll be a gas in there,
Yes, sir. It'll be a conventional AC system.
in the fence area.
No, the AC will be outside the front, but we have talked about welding in.
We'll do something.
Yeah, we actually talked about welding in
And then jokers, let's steal them out of the churches, and we bring.
plenty of dog dogs.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, no, it has been, the concern has been raised to us, and we plan on
Put the
welding.
AC on the front, why not on the side inside the fence?
There's not enough room for vehicle passage due to the raised pad. If I put the air conditioner on the side of the building, we won't be able to drive on that one side of the building if I do that. So putting it in the front of the building makes it the most simplest install and makes it a cleaner look.
If you put it on the north side, you could drive around.
No, sir.
Be sure you build a cage around it.
Yes, sir.
I hadn't really looked, to be honest. I'm about, running about 70, about 55. DPS been left
Yeah.
from the road, I hadn't.
We mounted the air handler about 10 feet up above the door, hanging off the ceiling, so that way we maximize the interior space. And it also centralizes the air handler, so that way we can run even ductwork both sides of the building and have even airflow. The only thing I wanted to bring to y'all's attention, just so y'all can be aware of it, we did talk last time about the well out at DPS. The contractor that was out there was able to get the well running, but he had to reduce the flow rate down to about 5 gallons a minute. He dropped the well pump down an extra 40 to 60 feet because every time he turned the pump on, he would suck the wellbore dry. It's just not recharging fast enough to maintain a 10 gallon per minute rate out of that wellbore.
How big of a well is it?
It's 4-inch casing, galvanized pipe. It was probably drilled about 50 years ago plus.
Ain't much. 6 inch, you might go down there and go.
He estimates 300 feet deep. We set the pump around 260 to 270 estimated, so it was originally set at 210, which is surprising.
So hindsight's 2020, they put that cistern out there because it is a slow recovery well. So they pump the water up here in a slow manner and then use the water out of the tank. That's what they do.
They use that to fill the arc of flow, what they have, and it runs continuously.
Yeah, so just for consideration, what I'm kind of proposing that we do moving forward, it doesn't have to be done right away until the shelter's up and running. But when we run the water lines for over there, we're thinking about putting in a second booster pump and booster pumping just for the shelter alone.
The tank's 15,000 gallons, right?
Sir?
The tank is, did you tell me 15,000 gallon tank?
That was estimation, yes, sir.
The way it was designed, it fills up and then they fill up the fire truck or whatever the Forest Service was. So that ought to be enough capacity to wash, shampoos, and poodles and things of that nature.
I think it should suffice. It's just long-term wise, it needs to be, just be aware of that if there is an issue with water regeneration out there, it may be a consideration later on to add an additional well just for the shelter further down the road if we see that that's an issue.
Did they think about going in there and jetting that old well out to get the sand down there?
Yes, sir. He did talk about doing that. He said that if we choose to do so, he's more than happy to make that happen. It's just additional cost with no guarantee of success. And it being an older well, there is a potential that you blow the bottom of the screens out. So it's a double-edged sword in that aspect. Yeah, you might get it back, you might not get it back, and you might cave it in. So he said, it's running, it's working, leave it alone. It's just for future consideration, but for short term, we can add in a secondary charge pump or a booster pump to produce water over there for the shelter. Short term, see how it runs. If it looks like it's something that's manageable for long term, then we can just go that route.
Saving grace on this, in the past, we've had trouble with that. Something out there, you have to use pumps right there to recharge that tank.
Yes, sir, that's what we did this last time. We used fire trucks from Cold Spring that came out and filled it up for us. It took 5 runs.
You know what Baker's cost is?
I'm sorry.
She
I don't have it with me
may
right
need to go ahead and cut that check, so that she wants to change it up to approve his budget.
We already have a PO created for it already, so all that's been taken care of. So she has the numbers for that.
If you use the services form in September, I can accrue it, even if it's not paid till October, I don't really accrue it in books. As long as the services are performed in September, it's fine.
I get that, but you've got this residue, this money in the budget for next year.
No.
Or you don't?
No. He told me he was gonna pretty much spend all of it this
You
year.
didn't put that in there.
Long as it was 5,000, that's when the change
We had it in there and took it out because we told him to spend it this year. You got it already approved? Oh, ain't no use sitting there on our thumbs waiting.
More or less today was just an update and to set the scene for future consideration of a secondary well if necessary.
Johnny Appleseed is what it is. Thank you so much.
All right. Appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. Number 20, consideration, discussion, possible vote, approve necessary action for the impound yard / law enforcement center. Sheriff,
He stepped out from that. Judge, I have both item number 20 and number 21. If you would open 21 for me, I'd like to discuss that first.
you would.
Yes, sir. At your will.
21, consideration, discussion, possible vote to approve necessary action for the innovation center.
We had a meeting between the judge, myself, and Mr. Brandon, and the construction manager was there, Johnny Torres. We had a meeting on 8/30/22, and the purpose of the meeting was to discuss the written changes on our value engineering so we could get this thing in the budget, and to discuss the start date on the project. We went through all the submittals that had changes. The fundamental problem is that the court has agreed to the project, the grant manager has agreed to the project, the construction manager has agreed to the project, but the architect is not acknowledging our changes. So we got together as a group to discuss, are we on the same page?
Meaning, basically refused to draw new drawings that reflect what the changes are.
That is exactly right. Yes, that is exactly right. For the record, the plan.
For the record, we've pretty much front paid him all the way out. And we don't need to go into, I guess, the details of how that happened, but it was done at the advice of counsel, and a lawyer wrote a demand letter. And anyway, we don't have the big end of the stick, it don't sound like. But I don't know, if just because he doesn't want to do anything else, you can't just stop the project.
No, sir, we can't.
I know you've got a solution, and had I not interrupted you, you would have already enlightened us, so go right ahead.
No, sir, I do have a solution, and we've all agreed to the solution. The plans and the proposed building that we're talking about now have the same floor plan, they got the same square footage, it's the same functionality, it's the same occupancy, it's in the same location, and the same surrounds, parking, and lighting areas. All the
really important things are exactly the same.
Allow me to put a little bit more background into the picture for those of y'all. There are some that have I got a lady coming tomorrow, wants to look at everything there is innovation. So I'll throw what I can out there. When we started this thing, it was a $2 million grant. We've got a 20% match. We guard the money for the match, $400,000, even though we originally were told we could use the value of the land. Way behind us over there is where it's going as a match value. And we paid pretty good, we paid a significant amount of money for the property. Therefore, we thought we'd have about at least $200,000 of that in match that you're allowed to do, in-kind match. We've already paid for the land. And you think that the Department of Commerce will allow you to have match equal to what you actually paid for the land. That's not the case in this matter. They made us reappraise the property several years later, and a different appraiser appraised. His findings were that the property value had dropped significantly, and the value of the property at $71,000. Probably the only piece of land in the entire county that the value has dropped in the last 5 years. But we own it, apparently. I'm not sure if we gain anything right now. The way property's gone up, now this is over a 2-year span. Ain't no telling how much it's worth if they put today's rates on there. But anyway, that $2 million building, we told him this is what we want, a $2 million building. He drew up a $2.6 million building, and then when we started running into these problems over, hey, we don't have enough money to build this building, and the project just come to us preaching hard because we couldn't build the building, so we tried to get him to work with us and scale it down. We came up with a lot of innovative ideas to take out the hotel quality air conditioning system that he had designed that nobody in 3 counties can work on, and go back to an air conditioning system that people around here can work on. And that's one of the things we took out. We took out, I think, a fire suppression system. We took out the requirement to have 3-phase, which we went down and saved a bunch of money in a lot of places, but while we're saving this money, trying to drive the cost down, COVID comes along and that cost of 2x4s went from $2 to $10. And so whatever we were able to pare it down, the cost of material and labor just went back up at the same time. Bottom line is, we've got a $2.7 or $2.8 million building now is what's designed in the drawings.
That's 2.1.
No, it's 2.9.
Well, you're more familiar.
No, I'm sure of that. And so we got to that point, and we're still stuck on this stump because we don't have another 900,000 until the American Recovery Fund came in. American Recovery Fund, initially, there was limited usage you could use the money for. And after a while, if you're under a $10 million recipient, we were a $5.6 million recipient. And half of that we pretty much went through. And the other 2.8, we're waiting its arrival from the government. We're the court decided, why don't we see if people that are over the government entities that are over that will allow us to use recovery money, because all these costs were caused, one might argue, as a result of COVID and all the ramifications it's caused. So anyway, we're going to take 900,000 or thereabouts out of the recovery money, and that's how we're able to do this. So
that is very correct.
That is how we got to where we are. It's not.
One of the things that this caused, aside from the increased cost, is our documentation is now incorrect from what we have today. We have a different structure, we got different finishes, we have different mechanical systems,
We have different plumbing fixtures and hot water systems, and we have a different electric.
I think we even changed, at one point, I think he had proposed to use wooden trusses in
That's
a
what I'm
metal
saying.
building.
It is a different structure. We
And
now
we
have a
had to
metal
change
building.
that as well, so.
All of these things make a documentation issue. And we all have agreed, all of us, the court,
When you say documentation issue, I feel compelled to explain what you mean to the public. When the guy comes in and wants to bid on putting in the light fixtures, we've changed all that, but he refuses to change our drawings. They have to look at like another document in connection with the floor plan to figure out what exactly he bid on.
That is exactly
kind of what I'm.
Yeah, because we're doing it through, instead of redrawing everything, we're gonna have an as-built when it's completed. We're handling through the notes, which are stuff that's on the side and in front, so we can keep track of all the changes. That is going to create a documentation problem for the county as well as the construction manager. We think we have this covered. We think we have it.
Not his first rodeo, and
no, it's
he's
not.
very good at it. He built the debt cog building, and we're satisfied with what he's doing.
Yeah. So I think we're in place. The construction manager is going to come back to us probably.
I thought you were here to hand me the notice to proceed that he said he was going to.
Well, he said he needed 2 weeks probably to make sure that he's got the contracts correct with all of his subcontractors, and he's gone over the submittal with all of the subcontractors, and that's where we are. I rather suspect that the start date will be in October. Yeah, we're looking at October. He's gone through most of the submittal, talking about that.
Has he submitted the final contract with the guaranteed price?
Not to me, he may have.
I didn't think so. I didn't think I missed that. That's the big, most important stage.
He's finalizing the numbers and all of those things, so I'm sure he will get with you in the court.
So we're like that close.
We are that close.
I think I received yesterday's mail, he put up a bond way back when, and the bond company sent me a questionnaire wanting to know how the project was proceeding. I referred it over to the auditor, they're gonna fill it out, but we're basically gonna tell them, well, we're right on the bid, the cusp of entering into a final contract, and then we can start moving.
And that's where we are. You need a copy of the signed deal with
DETCOG is our grant writer, that's very true, and they had to prove certain portions of it, then we had to send it to Jorge Ayala with the Department of Commerce, and they had to approve us using recovery money funds to do, not match, we borrowed our own match, they will not let you use other funds for match, but this is for to cover the cost overruns that have. Yeah. As opposed to cutting the building in half.
That's where we are, unless there's further questions.
Thank you so much.
Now, number 20, the law center.
Is the sheriff gone?
We need the sheriff, wherever he is.
They had to take care of emergency. Should be back
We had a full committee meeting on the 29th with Judge Faulkner, Sheriff Capers, my favorite chief detective back there, Commissioner McAnally, and the architect and me.
There's things that have to do with acquisition of property that are related to that. And
I was going to get to that, but first, let me just kind of tell you, or remind the rest of the court what happened. The architect layout is final layout, and again, these are not construction drawings. We all want to agree this time on a layout and a general plan before we do anything. We have 100% buy-in from the users, the sheriff's department. Other law enforcement activities and functions were included in the survey. He came up with a plan that reaches into the future, if I may put it that way. This facility that he has laid out, based on our direction.
We really need to go the direction because of potential for acquisition. We need to talk about that in executive session.
We do.
Law allows you, if you're looking at buying some land, you don't sit up there and tell the whole world what you're buying.
What you thinking, but this is where the
I
committee
don't
came.
want the copping to run out there and buy it before we get to the.
Yeah, the problem with the current concept is that it has some built-in inefficiencies to it. We have a duplicity of certain functions.
Can we just go, let me take charge here. I want to go into executive session and talk about all that.
You need me with you.
The court doesn't even know what all, the committee hadn't reported to
We
me
have not.
about that aspect of it, so I guess what time we got this. I see the clock, 11:38, we're gonna adjourn regular session and go into closed executive session and we have our attorney here, we'll probably have him in there so he can advise us legally. Executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code sections 951, 071, 072, 0725, 074, 076. We also have another item that we're going to discuss for interest of full disclosure. We had an accident in the annex building. Insurance is covering it all. Insurance wants a contract. That we're going to go over with our lawyer, and then we're going to come back and act on it. But I can't act on it until he's briefed us on it. So that's